Or another way of putting that would be, instead of 4 servings, it will be, again, I know I'm in English, I'm making assumptions, don't really care. So don't tell me about plurals and such. It could be, I'm going to make 4 pancakes, or I'm going to make 7 tarts, or whatever it is. It's going to be a unit, like, of the portion unit. We're going to say what recipe kind is, because there are different kinds of recipes out there, by the way. There are what I would call standard recipes, which just give you the list of ingredients and the steps, if there are steps, obviously, more than one step. And it will also give you times and all that lot and stuff there. That's a standard thing. There will be another great kind, which is bread. Bread baking is actually more complicated because you need all the different proportions and you'll do it in baker's units. So it's a very different way of handling things. So if you've ever done that, you've got baker's units. It's always relational to the mass of the flour that you're using. So if you use 1,000 grams or a kilogram of flour, the amount of water, if you said 70% hydration, you're using 700 grams. If you're using 2% salt, you're using what? That's 2% salt is 20 grams of salt. And so on and so forth in there. And that's how you deal with stuff. Parent recipes. Now this is what I actually realized is when you're making recipes sometimes, there are actually sub-recipes in them. So if it's got a parent, it's actually a sub-recipe. So like for instance, oh, I'm making a roast dinner. Okay, so first off, you need a recipe how to cook the meat. A recipe to cook how all of the vegetables. Recipe, all this thing. But they're all sub-recipes and they all tie together and you do it. Or you're making a cake. Or a donut. Like if you're making donuts, you've got the recipe for the donuts and the recipe for the filling. Or maybe it's custard filling. Well, they're separate recipes. So because they are separate recipes, you kind of want them embedded in each other. So you want to have some way to do it. You'll have hidden and private, obviously. These are going to be null by default, but they're false by default. So they're not going to be hidden, nor is it going to be private. But they're sometimes useful. And then you've got all of the things that relate them to. Again, author is very simple, so is the source. Source has always got an author related to it. But notice I'm like, why have we got 2? Because the source could be different to the author. Makes sense. We've got tags everywhere. We've got recipe tags, so you can always add a tag to a recipe. Add tags to everything, to be honest with you. Recipe steps, you've always got the steps. We tell you what step index is well, which recipe it is, and so on and so forth. The units. So we have the kind of unit. So this will be like, oh, is this a mass unit, a volumetric unit? Is it a time unit? Is it a temperature unit? And a length unit. They're the only units we actually care about. There's 5 different types. So mass, volume, length, time, temperature. There we go. Then we have the list of the units. We have the unit conversions, and they'll all be based on the standard. And the standard, I'm probably going to be like CGS or SI. I'm not sure which. It's not going to be SI, but it's going to be metric most likely. It's going to be the base one, just because then it's easier to scale. Just use one unit and then scale based around all that. And the units aren't going to change, they're going to be fixed. Then they got the ingredients. The ingredients are very simple. They're going to have names and density to them. If it's used, and I'm going to be using it in kilograms per litre, so yeah, I'm going to think kilograms for everything. So kilograms per litre is going to be the thing, so it's specific gravity. So turns out butter is about 1. That's great. Flour, I think, is about just about over half. I don't think it's exactly half. If I remember correctly, flour is like 4. If you got 8 ounces of flour, volumetric fluid ounces, you've got 4.8 ounces. So I think it's like 60 actually. So 0.6 it would be for flour rather than 0.5. So 0.6. I think. I might be wrong. So that's fine. Then we have read ingredients variants. So these variants are going to be, like for instance, we have chicken. Chicken is the ingredient, but the variant is a, what's the best way of putting this? The variant for this would be thighs. So you have a chicken thigh, and so sort of like that. So if I look at this, yeah, there's an ingredient, chicken thigh. Then we have an alias. So we have some, look, there may be different names for different ingredients. Like for instance, what I call, when I have in my salad, I have something called rocket, a green leaf thing. It's a bit peppery. But Americans will call it arugula. They're the same thing, but they have different names. So when you go through your recipe, you're like, I don't know what this rocket thing is. I know what arugula is. Or another one is zucchini and courgette. Courgette's the French word. Zucchini is the Italian word. I'm used to saying courgette because English usually do, but in America they usually say zucchini. So you always have these different things. Ingredient tags. You can always add tags to every single ingredient. And then you have the durations of each recipe. Like, for instance, there's for each step, or if it's for the entire thing itself. And then you have the ingredients. So the ingredients have the ingredient plus their variant ID, if there is one. I'm not giving an alias because we can figure that out as you want. All of the different amounts in here. So the normalized amount and the maximum. So you may see like, look, this is, we say, I don't know, I need a pint of milk, but if you need to, you could always add a bit more. So you could have a pint and like 3 fluid ounces or something stupid. Yeah, whatever. That's the basic idea. You need to say what the original unit is for this as well. That's no problem. And that just says what it is, unit ID, what the original one was. So we're basing that from there. And the unit kind. Normalized unit kind. Do I actually need that in the table? That's a very good question. Do I need that in there? Oh no, of course you do, because you need the norm. Because you need to know if it's a volumetric or mass or anything, which you could get from the original unit. Should, but not necessary. And then, is it an optional ingredient or not? Because some things are not optional, so that's lovely. Not always that some of them associated with represent, but look, they're the tables, and this would cover pretty much every single recipe I've actually seen, and I've gone through my books. I've gone and checked them all and go, yeah, this doesn't cover this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. It's like, yeah. So hopefully, if there's anyone got any other questions, please do. Yeah, there's loads of things we can do and expand because of it's a database problem. Once the data's in the database, representing it is then the problem, if that makes any sense. Again, any questions? Any questions here and there? Just gonna have a drink while I wait. Oh, that's a very good question. So someone is asking, suppose these steps list durations, including prep. Could the finished app also schedule a roast dinner for you, where it says, now that the roast is in the oven, glaze your carrots? That is actually a very good question. Yes, it could. There's no reason, like the data's all in there. I'd have to say offsets as well with times, which I haven't done in the steps. Just adding another column in the database, it's not a problem. Yeah, we could easily add language ID. For this prototype, I really don't care. This is more than enough for the prototype. This is my point. But you can see it's not even 200 lines of SQL with spaces in it for readability. So it's actually a really simple database problem. But it's just populating. It's going to be half the problem as well as displaying it. So I'm going to have a way of... I'm going to make myself a really easy way of inputting like ingredients and inputting recipes. I've already got some ones written. So I just picked, I think, 3 random recipes, but of very different kinds, obviously. So the first one I got from Nigella Lawson's book, American Breakfast Pancakes. And these were the ingredients that she used, like so. Then there is Mrs. Beaton's here, a fruit sponge. And she's showing all of the units that she used as well. And then we have here is a bake. This is a bread recipe. So it's not a normal recipe anymore, it's bread. So each one's slightly different. And they're going to be in percentage. So these are relative quantities. Which is good to know. So these are very different things. And I've got them written in JSON because I could always read the JSON and put it what I need to do. Or I can think about it later. Okay. So the JSON view is quite easy here, but it's fine. Yeah, there's always loads of stuff to do at the moment. So shall we get started with the actual programming? Because I have been rambling on now all about this for nearly half an hour. But I hope you're enjoying the stream. So shall we get on with the show? And again, remember to share, like, subscribe. Again, as I was saying, the other thing, like that smash button because I said it wrong. I'm not going to keep that as a joke because it's probably too bad. No signs of illness. No. Yep, absolutely fine. Except I did have a spot on my head, so if you can see the spot, it's annoying me as well in the camera. Yeah. Just trying to ignore it. But other than that, that's no other real illnesses that I know of. So shall we go on with the show? Yes. So here we go. We've got all this here. We're rendering and all the windows. So this is going to be the add recipe part. And I've tried to improve the thing here. That's one thing I need to do is improve some of the controls here. So if control in context.key pressed bits, then what I'm going to do is if it goes control, I'm going to go straight to the left. These aren't full on stuff, by the way. And then that one's going to be text length to the top. So this is just to make it easier. I'm just trying to improve the... Oops. Did that not... No, it's not pressed. It should be held. Key down bits. There we go. So look, it works. That's actually quite well, and it works as I expect. There is now no Control 8, but it's fine, it's fine. An old-fashioned, do you say? I'm not doing an old-fashioned, but I do have some bourbon. If we want to do a stream like that, I do have some bullet bourbon. It's unopened, obviously. So if we want to do a stream later, we can. No frame-perfect keyboard navigation? Oh, no. No. This is... Yeah, this is my hack. Right, so wonderful system I have here. My updating of the micro UI, I've split it into different directories so I can deal with it later, so I can add new widgets when I need them. And it's just going to be easier than me learning JavaScript is the best way. That's why I'm doing Odin. Okay. So the first thing is we need different windows to add different things. But the one thing we could do is we have... Don't I have SQLite? Is it DB... DB browser? And I had another database thing I downloaded the other day. And that one seemed to be better than DB browser, which seemed a bit crap, to be honest with you. It was called, and I think it was called... SQLite Studio, was it? No, Studio... Database Studio. Oh, no, I know where it was. I wasn't storing it there. I was storing it in a sensible place. Now, where did I store it? There. I told you I was storing things in a very useful place. Here it was. So I was having the database here, and this is what I was going to use it for. So I'm going to input some data with this application, and then we're going to view it. So I actually did write a lot of this down already, but I kind of forgot. So we're going to have to do it from scratch, guys. Yeah, I just needed something. If anyone's got a better alternative than this, please tell. Also, this is tiny, so no one's going to be able to see this. So unless someone knows a better one, also I can zoom in. Because I can see this, no problem. You guys, no, you've got no chance in hell. Look and feel. Use compact. Let's... Yeah, compact's nicer. But... Style. Okay, fine. Fusion Dark. Windows. Oh, now that's actually kind of... The classic Windows is quite nice. I've always liked it, though. And then you got the Vista. And then you got Fusion. Fusion looks... Yeah, I'll use the technical term, wank. Fonts. Okay, so these are tiny. So shall we make them bigger? So we're going to double everything, shall we? So 16... So it says 2.8, so let's go to 16, 14, 16, and 16. Okay, is this better to read now, or is it still bad? Because I may need to go a little bit higher. So let's go for 24 every time. So 24, 24, 21, let's say 22. 24 and 24. Okay, hopefully you guys can read this now. Okay? Because it's going to be hard to not. Better-ish. Let's just hope that's better. Yeah. Okay, so we have some recipes, and I'm going to do the basic one, obviously. So in my list of recipes, we have the JSON file. Let's go for Nigella Lawson, because who doesn't love Nigella Lawson? For people who don't know, okay, but yeah, you've got search engines, you can find out. Hello, howdy, how are you doing? How are you doing? Rightio then. So, shall we? You can kind of see what I've got on the screen there. Kind of, maybe, whatever. It was fine before. Now, I'm just trying to make sure because people do different screens, obviously. Rightio then. So we got all this. I'm just checking the analytics, everything. I got view activity. No super chats, guys. Oh, no super chats. Yeah, don't worry. You breaking Microsoft design guidelines? I don't really care. The application is not me. So we have some authors in here, and we want to. Can we add some data into here? So we want to below the row. So we're gonna add some data. So the author ID, I don't care. The author is going to be Ginger Bill. No, we're going to have another one here. Anonymous is our first author. Ginger Bill is our next author. Can we just do 0, 1? And then we're going to be really good. We're going to put Mrs. Beaton, if that's a real, it's not a real name, is it? But yeah, this book is really old. It's got old adverts in it. Like, how old is this advert? Well, I can tell you, it just tells me the date. Saturday, June the 11th, so that should narrow it down to possibilities. It's like a 1 in, 28 chance to get it right. You can tell when this was bought. There's just, there's old adverts in here. Look at this, old adverts. It's great. Oh, just look at old cookbooks. Yeah, look at that. It says, take a chef's advice. He says, if the recipe requires gelatin, use Davis's granulated gelatin. It's easy to measure, quick to dissolve, and always dependable. The old-fashioned leaf gelatin is nearly not as good, and used it. Oh god, my god, this is just bad. I bet they're not even around anymore. But it's clearly how you'd make money in that stuff. You have to put ads. So, there's a dead spider in there. Swished as well. But is it? It's clearly a brand when it says Mrs. Beaton's, but should we just put Mrs. Beaton in there? Mrs. Beaton. Okay, we're just adding some stuff in here. We're gonna put 1.3 in there. Nigella Lawson. Okay. The next thing we want to do in here, I'm gonna put Ken Forkish in there for him. Forkish. Oops, that's meant to be a 4. And then add them in. So now we've got all of the ones for tonight at least. We're reinventing the cookbook. Yes, that's what you hear tonight. We're reinventing the cookbook. I may need to make some graphics to make it look like along the bottom to make it look good. So shall we do that while we're here? Oh no, we'll just do it. We'll just I'm gonna rename this. Should have been augmented. It is. I'm just typing it in. Does it have? Does the database not have an? Do I have to do it in here? I'm not. I just wrote this. Should I wrote auto increment in there? Is there a way of doing that? Yeah, I need to write auto. Shall I just delete this database and start again? And every single one that has the primary key on it, I'm going to go auto increment. Is it like it? No? Like that. Doesn't matter. I don't know if it's in any particular order, to be honest with you. So shall we just, we can copy and paste this later, but should we just delete the database? Can we delete it? Yeah, you know what? SQLite thing for that. I'm going to delete the database itself. Regenerate it. Wonderful. There's a journal in there. We don't need to load it. Back to our little SQLite studio. It should open it up already for us. And then we're going to look at the authors. There's nothing in there. That's great. Actually, it kind of is great. So we're just going to... We've got Anonymous. We've got me in there because I'm a very famous author. Mrs. Beaton. Nigella Lawson. No, Nigella, not Nigel. That's a different bloke. Ken Forkish. And can we think of another guy? And some other chef. I'm going to say Gordon Ramsay. Is that how you spell his name? I'm having to check someone's name spelling. I think that's correct. Ramsay. There we go. Like so. Yeah, Ramsay was some other chap. Okay, so if I do that, then they're also incrementing. Perfect. So now we've actually got the database set up. So that's for the author. We then want to just do a recipe. We want to do the ones we set up. So ignore that. We want to set up this. Okay, so we need to look at the recipes. Well, let's just do the simple one, which is this here. We need ingredients first. And we actually know we need units. So we need unit kind. So we need to put stuff in here. The unit kinds we need are going to have to be mass, volume, temperature, time, and length. We're not going to care about volume of area for the time being, just care about them. They're done. And interesting, they start from 1, not 0. Whatever, I don't really care. So that's that. So I'm going to write them down so we don't forget. So 1 is mass, 2 volume, 3 is temp, 4 is temperature, 5 is length. Also, by the way, can anyone hear my air conditioning going on at the moment, or is it pretty good at the moment, so it's pretty quiet? Uncle Roger? Uncle Roger? Oh, whoever that is. I don't have an Uncle Roger. Yeah. The name of my Sublime Text theme, it is Fresh Cut. It's Dale Rees. Dale's spelled weird. Fresh Cut Contrast. I've been using this for 5-6 years now, this theme. I'm that boring. I used to change them all the time and then just went, oh, I like this one, and I've not really met a better one yet. No audio issues. Wonderful to know. That means there's nothing going on. Okay, so we've got the kind. Next, we can add all the units. So we're just going to have to put the different units in here. So the first one is kilogram, and the unit kind for that is a mass. Okay? Then we can have that. That's grams. Whatever the units is here, there's going to be ounces. We're going to have to do pounds. God, what are the actual useful units? We're not putting drams. That's a 16th of an ounce, by the way. Just say 16th of an ounce. It's easier to say. Other mass units that people use. Seriously, I think that's actually it. I can't think of any more. Okay, so we've done the mass. We're going to do volume now. So volume is actually going to be the more annoying thing. So we have litres. So volume. We're going to have millilitres. That's 2. We're going to have centilitres because the French exist. And they like centilitres for some reason. I don't know. Do you actually use decagrams or in the real world? Because I've never seen them written everywhere. It's always grams or kilograms. But I've seen centilitres. So that's one there. Okay, we have fluid ounces. Now the problem here is we're going to have imperial fluid ounces. Yeah? Yeah, this is where it's going to get really annoying. We're going to have fluid ounce. US. Oh, they're different. Did you not know this? We're going to have a pint. Imperial. Yeah. Then we're also going to have a pint US. Other units we need to worry about are teaspoons. Now, technically, there are differences between the metric teaspoon, the imperial teaspoon, and the US teaspoon, but they're they're all three different, by the way. I think the imperial teaspoon is good. The fluid ounce is different. So teaspoon is, I think there's 6 teaspoons to a fluid ounce, depending which fluid ounce it is. There's also the metric teaspoon, which is 5 fluid ounces. So we might just cheat and just say, look, we have a teaspoon. Yeah? So there's 2. And that is a volumetric, by the way. We have a tablespoon. Like so. We also are going to have other volumetric units are like a cup. And I'm just going to say cup because no one really uses... I'm going to put US in there for the time being because I can always change it. No one has the imperial cup doesn't really exist. It does. It's the imperial cup is 10 ounces, which is half a pint, but no one uses that. No recipe should be that sensitive, so that's why I'm saying a teaspoon. But the differences between an imperial pint and a US pint are huge. Like, for instance, an imperial pint is 20 imperial fluid ounces, and a US pint is 16 American fluid ounces. And these are also, Americans also have dry and, you have a distinction between dry and wet or liquid volumetric measures as well, which is annoying and a pain, but luckily we're just going to assume they don't exist, because I think they are getting rid of them soon, I think. I know you're getting rid of the surveyor's foot soon, and you're literally just going to standardize on 1 foot. Because the surveyor foot is weird. Tablespoon is TBS spoon, like that. I probably need to do units and aliases as well. Like short and long form of this. Shit, I need to probably do that. I'm going to just save this. And then I'm going to just edit the table. No, I need to change the table. I need to add a long and short name. So, if there is even one, by the way. Can I add another column? Add column. Its column name is going to be short name, and that's going to be text. Yeah. I don't need to be not null and done. Yeah. So that needs to be move column up. That's absolutely fine. We're going to go back. Oh yeah, commit. I'm going to that. Okay. So what we need to do in here is in our table layout, so I don't forget it. Unit short name. It should be unique. Doesn't need to be not null. Doesn't really make a difference, actually, to be honest with you. Oh, I said that was the short name, not the long name. You know what? I actually disagree with myself, and I'm just going to roll back. That's fine. I don't actually care. My past build probably had a reason for the short name. What about thirds? Okay, units, thirds, they're actually still part of a cup. You don't have to worry about that, and we can render fractions eventually anyway, so it's not really an issue. And figuring out fractions, because when you get to like 0.5 or 0.7 grams, it's like, no, we're going to render that as a fraction and just go it's 3/4. It's like 0.7, it's close enough. Or 2/3, whichever's closest, hypothetically speaking. So they're the units. There any other volumetric units? There's probably more, but we can always add them as we go along, aren't we? So, next ones we need to add are the temperature units. So we have Celsius, and in fact, we need to get the degrees symbol as well. So that, degrees C, and that one is a temperature unit. Okay. And then we have degrees Fahrenheit. Oops. Degrees Fahrenheit. And that's a temperature unit as well. We're not caring about Kelvin. We're not going to care about Rankine. We're not caring about any of the other units. You never see them. We're not going to even do gas mark. Gas mark is, if anyone knows what gas mark is, if you want a little lesson on gas mark, by the way, it's the most weirdest unit ever. Because it starts on like 275 degrees Fahrenheit is gas mark 1. And then it goes up in 25 degrees Fahrenheit increments as you go. Which is fine. That makes absolutely, that's fine. It's what you do on an old oven. You do gas marks on there. But then if you need to go colder, they needed to go, it's logarithmic. So another 25 means you go to a half, another 25 is a quarter, another 25 below is an eighth. It's like, oh, they ran out of numbers. They couldn't go negative. They had to keep them fractions. It's like, yeah, people, that was annoying. So we're going to commit that. And we're going to add another unit in here. So the next ones are time units. So we have seconds is the obvious thing. We're going to have minutes. We're then going to have hours. And we're not going to bother with days, I don't think. But we can add it anyway. Day. You know what? No, I'm not going to bother with day, because that's just stupid. And then we have length units. So length units are going to be simple. We have a meter. We have a centimeter. How do I add another unit? Is there a shortcut for that? Don't know. Millimeters. It's fine. There's no more for them. So what we're then going to do is inches. Yeah. This is just me filling in the database, by the way. You can see the planning, though. It's not the inches. Then we've got... we need to make backups of this every single time, by the way. So I'm going to have to use Git. I done Git up yet, so we'll do that in a minute. Inches. We got feet. And then any other units we need to care about? No. Like, this is just... Probably inches is all you're ever going to use, ever. You're never going to use feet. So we're going to commit them. They're all the units. And they are seriously all the units we're ever going to probably need. Oh, no. There's another unit kind I completely forgot. And it's going to have to be another one. So, this is number 6. And 6 is... I'm going to call this an each. Or an item. No, it's an item. So these are items. So an item unit. Okay? So these don't have any conversions to them, obviously. So these are going to be like a pinch. Well, that's going to be an inch. And that's going to be like an item. So is... pinch has technically got an actual unit measurement, but it's an item. We don't really care what it is. We then going to have to care about... we also have to care about the units which don't exist. So, what I mean by that is... yes, sorry. Do that. Oh, bollocks, that's 25. I know. 26. And I'm going to give that as 0. No, I'm going to give that as 26. And then that was going to be blank, but 6. And that's just going to be absolute space. So, not null. Yeah, I'm going to just call this empty. Space. What? Oh, did I not click that? Whoops-a-daisy. That's why it wasn't allowing it. Dumb. And that's blank. And in fact, that one, I can call 0. Delete that. In fact, can we even just delete that entire cell? Yeah. And I'm going to insert above 0, blank, and then 6. Yeah, I'm going to put space in there. Problem solved. Space. It's fine by me. And then I'm going to insert below, obviously. End of the data view. Perfect. I don't really care about that message, so go away. So then we've got all the units in here. So this is not the problem. We're going to now stop. I'm going to stop because people... Yeah, carton package thing, they're fine. We can put them at the end because these are going to be the pinch, the carton, the pack, whatever, the tin. Those are different units. So we don't need to worry about it. So 6 tin, it will say 6 carton, 6 package, 6 piece, whatever. These are things we can add eventually. Because it will affect... It may not even say that because it'll be just, I think, 6 eggs. 6 egg, whatever. Are we done? Okay. So that's what the default one is going to be 0. There's nothing going to be in there. It's absolutely fine. So we're now going to go to our actual code. Yeah. And we're going to try and read the database, which is going to be fun. So our little database, I'm going to say list of units. Okay? So I'm going to query every single frame. This is going to be fucking stupid. I probably shouldn't do this. Yeah, let's just do it once. Let's just do it once for the time being. And in fact, I'm going to put this in a new file just for the beginning. So this would be Windows, package main. I don't know what I need or don't need. Func's not being used, nor is str nor is strings, but UI is being used. So here's the recipe, and in fact, I need to make that default window size a lot bigger now, because otherwise you guys aren't going to be able to see it, are you? So this is not that big. In fact, all I'm going to do is copy and paste that. So let's not double it, but let's go to something sensible. Is that better? That's still not great. 900 by 600? 1600 I meant, sorry. That's slightly better. Okay? In fact, we could probably make this a little bit taller by making it 1000, because then you've now got a nice whatever size screen this is. Great. So what we need to do is initialize the data. So after we've done the UI, we're going to do init data. Init database data. Absolutely fine, no problem. I've got it under here, the recipe. And I already have most of it stored. Yeah, I'm static once, that's all I'm doing here. So first, let's get the units. Okay, so we have a unit. And we know what the unit kind is because we've just defined them to be that. Okay, so there's not going to be many more of them. So we have unknown is 0. We don't even have that. But we have mass is 1. We then have volume is 2. We have temperature is 3. We have time, which is 4. We have length, which is 5. And then we have item, which is 6. And then, to make this prettier, input them. So now we're going to have to do the database stuff. So we already have the database querying stuff. And then I'm just going to do, I cannot remember what it is because I modified what Sky did. We have database in here already. Execute simple. Bind. We could do basic binding here, to be honest with you. There's a select here. That's what I want. Select. And a structure argument. Ooh. We need to define everything in here. So a unit. It's going to have an ID in it. So let's just say ID is I64 or U64 for the time being. Don't really care. We then need to do unit kind is another. Let's say these are just all U32s for the time being. So let's just say an index is distinct U32 or something like that. Index, index, and then what is actually the order of all these parameters? So unit's got a name in there as well. So name, string. Wonderful, yeah? And in fact, that unit kind can just be this. So we don't even have to worry about the index. So then we're going to select, and then we're going to just do a select everything. I'm just going to say everything from, or just the... Oh no, we don't even have to do that. Command end. Select. Okay, from, and the field names must match the things in there. So that's the unit ID. Okay. I'm just checking what this one. So this is going to be from. What is it? Unit. And then we're gonna probably have to order this. This has got struct arg. So unit. I'm just going to test this. Once we've done the main, I'm just going to do where it says init database. In fact, we're just going to do that very early on. And I'm going to if true return. So I don't even care. I'm just going to print everything else out. Args? What args am I passing? Do the bind. I don't know how to use this, so I'm going to guess. If Sky's watching, hello, please help. Help me. I don't know what I'm doing. Unit kind. Oops. I know there's probably a typo. I don't really care. I know it says on it, but unit. Okay, and it says unknown. Okay, and it got 0. I want to select all. So select from unit. And then we should probably have an error. So db check in there. Panic. Misuse no such column as unit kind. What do you mean? It's called unit kind ID. Of course it is. Okay. So then now there's no error where unit ID is greater than 0. Great, that didn't tell me anything, did it? I'm probably just going to have to write my own queries manually. And it'd be easier. Won't it? Sky, are you here? Are you watching? Oh god, we've got... we need to ban that. Remove... Oh god, we need to ban... Can I ban this? How do I ban it? I need to give someone who can be a good mod. You can be a mod. Thank you. You can be a mod. Help. Removing that. Removing that. Oh good god, I'm not. I'm doing a moderation at this rate. Okie dokes. Jiggity pokes. Okay. I need to figure out how to do all this. This is insertion. Yeah. So this is select from unit. Yeah. And it's just going to select one of them, I'm guessing. Do I need to do a bind? Only one person's become a mod so far. Yeah, to taste, sometimes we need ingredients like salt and pepper, obviously, we're going to add in there, but some things like those ingredients, assume everyone's got. So when they've got their own pantry, we're going to assume you've got salt and pepper. Like, if you don't have salt and pepper, and water, that's it, salt, pepper, and water. I'm going to assume you have those 3. Like, there's always going to be those. Okay, I'm just checking all of the forums at the moment. Yeah, I'm going to add you as a mod. So you are that one. Sorry, I'm adding you as a mod. Thank you. Okay. So answer some questions. Yeah, what about all of the, like, we said multiplicative unit kinds? Well, that's what I'm calling item. An item is that. So if you've got 4 eggs or a dozen things, so 2 dozen would be not 2 dozen things, but that would be 24 things. You won't write 2 dozen, you just say 24. That's how it's going to work. You can always change how rendering at the end, but rendering's the end. You don't need any of them, just that. Do I? Unhandled type. Uh-oh. Oh, I know what's wrong. Runtime type info base. Was it type ID base? Oh no. What type of a unit kind? Not base, let's put core in there. That's what I wanted. Because the enums are just things, aren't they? Okay, so now we've got item. We've got pinch, apparently. We've got a random one. But the thing is, I want to get all of them. So I want to query how many there are. And then we're going to have to do all of them somehow. Select from there all of them. How do we do all of them? Oh, good God. This is me trying to figure out how to use SQLite straight away. But I'm guessing this, it says a row, and I'm going through the struct fields for any column. So I might have multiple rows, but I can't, and it only does the last one, doesn't it? So, this could be an array of structs. So if it is, I need to do some runtime type information here. Yeah, I'm going to say limit 1. And it's gave me the 0th one, which is wonderful news, by the way. And it gave me a space in there. Nice. Nice. Limit 1. Okay. But and these things, I need to go through them and iterate them and give me the data. Which is annoying. Because when you've got the step of the result, it's going to tell me that. I don't know how many rows there are going to be. So, you know what? That's a select 1, isn't it, effectively? So let's do select array, shall we? And then this is going to be the type ID. It's going to be some of that, and then the element type. And then it's going to be the array of T. So the results. So let's call that the array. No, results. Yeah, let's call it results. No, yeah. Okay, I'm thinking out what I'm doing here. It's okay. So first off, we need to do is results. Did I call that results or array? I'm already going insane. Results here, and that's just going to be a dynamic E. And then array is going to be that sliced and then cast. Okay. Okay, so then we've got the struct arg. Struct fields are going to be type ID of E, like so. And I'm going to put some intrinsics in here. Don't I, have I imported intrinsics? No. Select array. Where intrinsics type is struct, I think. I have that as a thingamabob. That's fine. So then we need to go through each of these. Struct arg. So arg is E. And then append to the results the arg. Field type, that's absolutely fine. Then results, array. Let's call this units. And then you got the error in there. If it's not really necessarily an error, but yeah. And then that's going to be a unit. Not limit to one, but get them all. And then type in the units. In fact, yeah, so that's there. In fact, we'll make this a little bit prettier. I'm going to do this. And then look, they're all the units we've got from the database, guys. Look at that wonderful thing. It works. I'm actually working. This is actually kind of working, guys. The power of Odin's parametric polymorphism coupled with its reflection. It's wonderful. It really is. And in fact, these labels could be, we could always add the struct fields to them if they've actually got a tag to them. So if they've got a tag name, we can do that. Because we may not want to call these stupid names. So one thing I know in Odin, so this is a feature, we're going to show off some Odin code here, is if we go to the reflection library here, we can have a tag lookup. So we may have the tag in there and I want to see if it's actually in there. So we're going to call this database unit. We're going to call them that because they may have different names. Field name is going to be the field.name, obviously. But if the field, we're going to have a look up the tags. So we have reflect, and it was struct tag lookup. If tag okay, field tag is okay, and I'm going to look up the tag by the key, and the DB is the database, and the tag doesn't equal an empty string, then the field name is equal to the tag. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say the ID, and then we've got the kind in there, is fine. Now this name we can keep the same, obviously, but those are going to be there. And then this is all that's here. Can we see? This tag needs to be converted to a string. And then hopefully it still all works. Look at that. And then in fact we can even add some, I think we can hide the formatting on that. Is that the right? I don't think I need a comma there actually. Yeah, there we go. No commas, just spaces. We can blank that one out. Look at that, guys. Just, ooh, that's good. That's good. So we've actually just got the database stuff in here, and we made our own little schema for our own database. And not just that. Look how quick that was. You're seeing I'm doing this from scratch, mostly. Yes, that slash is intentional. This is saying we want to pass a parameter, which is a type ID, so it's a type, and it's a specialization of a slice of elements. No problem. One thing I would love is it says step in this statement. I would love to know what the how many rows there are before I even get to it. Maybe someone could tell me in the chat. I'll do that later. So to do bill pre-allocate rows. And actually the results should be called rows. Okay, so that's that. We've now got all the units. Isn't this actually kind of wonderful, guys? And in fact, those I can probably put into lowercase, because it actually probably looks nicer as well. And we can change the formatting on that as well if we wanted to just S. And there we go. We don't need to have the quotes around it either. Isn't that nice? Look, the power of programming in Odin is amazing. You're coding in Odin. Yeah. Yeah, whatever the slogan is. I hope you're enjoying the stream, by the way. Okie dokes, jiggity pokes. I'm just checking stuff here. No, yeah, so select count would work. Now you're coding with the power of Odin. I know, this drunk Dane. That is kind of a funny joke, inside joke that we have. We couldn't think of a slogan. We just came up with the worst things possible. But yeah, this is it. This is it, guys. Just as I'm talking to the screen right now, it's just, rather than the programming. We've just said it is the data-oriented language for saying software development. And that is actually a good slogan, I'd say, or subtitle, or whatever it's called. But the... the coding with the power of Odin hashtag is, I always like coding in Odin because that rhymes. Coding in Odin, coding with Odin. And then we have the power of Odin. I'm like maybe not too much on the Norse theme there, but carry on. This is kind of fun. This is fun, by the way. You can see what I'm doing. You can learn probably stuff about Odin as I'm going along as well, by the way, if you didn't guess. So let's go back to this, shall we? It'll be absolutely fine, no problem. Pardon me, just burping on air. Now you're cooking with the gods of yore, and Odin's in there too. Of course they are. I'm like, yeah. Can I code in only runes? Well, yes. Rune is a built-in type, by the way, in Odin. That's not a joke. That is the character type in Odin, which is a Unicode code point. So if you wanted to do in runes, that's absolutely fine. And in fact, let me just check Unicode runes. Let's try some, get some Fortalk or something in here. So I'm going to try some, let's just call it Woden, or Odin. Was it Odin, isn't it? But Odin, let's say Odin, like that. Right. Let's go like this. There's our string. I think this is actually a variable we can actually use. Is it not? Yeah, that's valid. So if you wanted to write in... write in it, yes you can. You've just seen me right there. Look at that. So you can write in runes if you wanted. And in fact, we could say, what's the equivalent of int? Well, this is how you write int, isn't it? So we're going to define that as an alias. So there you go. Now you're writing it in runes. Welcome to Odin. Well, we can actually write in Odin. Go turn back from 900 AD. It's absolutely great, man. If you see Amleth in there, make sure you say hello. Say hello. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for poking around, Zach. What's the golden stream? So today we are trying to reinvent the cookbook. That is correct. Reinventing the cookbook. And you may think, wait, what? So the first problem is we're making the database. This is a big database problem at the end of the day. But yeah, I think we've gone too far. Time to burn it all down. Maybe, no. But the high point of this language here is that we're trying to make a reverse cookbook system. Is the goal. So the first thing is forward cookbook. The first thing is when you look through cookbooks like this, you'll see. Let's go for a more modern one. This one here is a bit more modern. It will say different recipes in here. For instance, this is cucumber salad. It says 1 cucumber peeled, salt. We need some salt. We need 3 tablespoons of oil or 3 tablespoons of sour cream. We need 1 tablespoon of some pepper and some chives, if available, chopped. So we have all of the different ingredients in here. And then we have the instructions, the steps and such. What's really interesting, though, is, for the lack of a better word, the conversions are not very useful. So when you're going through between stuff like, oh, look, when I'm reading like American recipes, it says, look, can you make sure you have a cup of flour? We need a stick of butter, a tablespoon of butter as well in there as well. Like, what the heck are all of these things? Seriously, like, I don't know. I don't understand any of this. Like, I have to go check up what is a stick of butter. Turns out it's about 4 ounces. 4 ounces of butter. Okay, great, thank you. Why didn't you just say 4 ounces, but stick? Because it's probably standardized in America, maybe. In this country, butter comes in different sizes, usually 250 grams, but it can be different. I've seen different sized butter. Annoying. So that's one thing. Is first thing, try and figure out how to map units, which means you also have to know the ingredients and their density. For instance, flour has about density, I think it's like 0.6. So if you say a cup of flour, like, a cup is 8 fluid ounces. So therefore, flour itself must be 4.8 ounces mass. So that's nice to know what the units are to convert to. And if I want to convert 4.8 ounces into grams, because maybe I prefer metric, and sometimes I do, that's 136 grams. That's a really nice unit to know for, and so on and so forth. So that's the first thing. So then you also be able to have all the temperatures, all the units conversion correctly. That's the forward cookbook thing. That's already a reinventing thing. That's the goal for this week in general. If I have time, I'll do the reverse cookbook. The reverse cookbook idea is, and this already exists, but it's crap. I've not seen a really good implementation of this. The reverse cookbook is, okay, here's the units. Here's the ingredients that I have. What can I make? Because when you read through recipes, you see like a really good recipe, like, oh wow, that sounds really good. How do I make this? And then you go, wait, oh, I don't have that ingredient. I don't have that ingredient. Oh, I don't have that ingredient. So I'm going to go to the camera only so people see better. You don't have this ingredient in here and like that. It's like, oh, I can't make this recipe. Oh, and then you're looking through the book, looking for a recipe that you can make, what ingredients you've got, because you don't want to go down to the shop and buy more ingredients, and they might not even have it in the shop. So it's a pain. It's the best way of putting it. So yeah, there's all of this annoyance is the best way of putting it. So you have to deal with all that. So the question is, what if I just said, I have all these ingredients and I have them in these amounts as well. Tell me what I can make and how many portions can I actually make? Because it might be I'm doing a recipe and I'm like, oh, look, I want to do this recipe, but it says I can only do 4 portions, but I've got to cook for 8 people tonight. Yeah, okay, that's probably not going to be do that much. I'll look for another one. That I've not even seen. I've seen the insert the ingredients, show me what I can do with the ingredients, but it doesn't show me what portions I can make. Because to do the portions, it actually has to understand how much of everything is in there, which means it hasn't been standardized. And no cookbook I've seen out there, or even reverse cookbook, does this, because it requires having a database. Because every reverse cookbook I've seen shunts you off into a different website to do all of that. So let's try and solve this problem. So the basic thing tonight is make sure we've got our tools written, because we're pretty much doing this from scratch, because there's no real tooling that does this. So doing it from scratch. Yeah, and leave me, I've got that spot there, so annoying me. Right. So sticks have different, because the sticks are wider on one coast than the other. So volumetric, they may be the same, but don't quote me on that. Yeah, they may be volumetrically the same. I thought they were 4 ounces. Yeah, I'm inclined to think that you can't get that count as maybe you should step. Then you go away and you do some inserts, and then you come back. So you could always query it first, find out what the count is, and then redo it again, can't you? I don't see why you couldn't. I've been talking about it for a year. So actually, no, I talked about it a year ago, pretty much from the last jam, and never touched it. And then never talked about it until again. So I'm getting on with it and done with. Expiration date. I'm not caring about expiration date. I'm not generating meal plan. That's stuff down the line. And that would have to be all automated, because you're not typing that in yourself. You don't, and that's just a bit too complicated. I don't want all that. That's just, even for me, that's just like, I wouldn't even use it. So it would be useless. Okay, so we've got the units. That's wonderful there. Okay, we're going to go back to this here. We have recipe kind. Do we have anything in here yet? No, we don't. So we have standard and bread. They're the only two ones we're caring about this week. Bing, bang, bong. So we're going to do that as 0 and 1. Because it's starting from 1 for some reason in this index. I'm like, no. So we're going to do that. So standard. Whoops. That was a smiley face for some reason. 0, 1. And that's another U8, because we don't need to care about that. So there's the recipe kind. We've got authors, we've already got in there, that's fine. Now we need to worry about ingredients, and actually start putting stuff in here. So one thing we wanted to look at was the recipes. So we need to look at the different ingredients. So we have plain flour. So we ingredients we're going to have in here, and make sure we got it. We've got, first on, name, water, densities, 1. Everything is 1 in densities. The ingredient we're going to have is salt. It has, we're not caring. 2, actually, what is the density of salt? Density of salt. And I just mean table salt, sorry. Density of table salt is about 1.2 apparently. Oh no, it's not. It's 2.17. Thank you. Oh no, that's not correct. Oh bloody hell, there's all these different numbers. We'll say it's 1.2, just to make it close enough. And then we have pepper. Density of table black pepper. In fact, we're just going to put black pepper in there. In fact, you know what? We'll just, yeah, call it black pepper. So the density here is not useful. This is some big calculation table here we're looking at there. Ground black pepper has a density of, and I want it in grams per milliliter, 0.57. Not 0.57. So it's not that dense, interesting, but salt is. Okay. Okay, they're the ingredients. Now we're going to add some more. So, we got plain flour. Notice we're doing all in there. Density of plain flour. Oh, great. I'm going to have to just figure that out. About 0.6. I was correct last time, so that's quite nice to know. 0.59 this website's got, but we'll say 0.59. Isn't it amazing there's official documents for all of this? Okay, so, baking powder. Baking powder. Let's try this one. Weight to volume. I just want it specific gravity, please. Baking powder. And I just want it in grams per milliliters, and that is 0.797. Okay, that's about 1, but it's fine. Baking powder. We've got salt. We've got sugar. And we're going to say a generic sugar, and that would say that's about 1 as well. Don't really care. We've got an egg. Is an ingredient. Don't need density of that, technically. We have butter. It's about 1. Milk. Guess what? That's about 1. And that is enough of our ingredients now. And that's kind of wonderful to see. So there's no density for the egg. But now we're going to just get the ingredients, shall we? I'm calling that, let's call this table salt, shall we? Yeah. By the way, all rock salt is sea salt at one point. Fun fact. Kind of. Shut up. Right, let's commit that. Okay, that's wonderful. We've got all this finely done. So we're going back to our recipes thing. And then we need an ingredient in this list now. Ingredient. Struct ID index. We've got the name. And then we've got the density. And that's going to be an F64. And that's going to be, just a note, with that's going to be grams per, oh no, kilograms per litre effectively is our units there. And then we're going to just put some stuff in here. So dB and then name. So unit, so this is called ingredient ID, name, and then this is density. And then we want to get the ingredients. So ingredients. In fact, what can we do here? We can do... what did I call it? Do we have a import SQLite SQL? Do we have that in the... Just let me check. No, it's called result code, so we don't have to worry. Result code. I'm doing an all return on every of these. Let's do the same thing here. So from ingredients, from ingredient, ingredients. I'm missing a return statement. Return nil. From sold. And then we're showing all of the ingredients now in there. Now, one thing we need to do once we've got the ingredients, can we actually have a default value? So if null, SQLite, if null default value. How do we do that in our select? I mean, no, it doesn't matter actually. If it keep it 0, it's absolutely fine, isn't it? So yeah, some of these are going to be 0, some of them aren't. Where's the egg in this list? Yeah, 0. We don't have a density, even though it's probably fine. So hopefully people got other goes things with our reverse cookbook thing we're working on. Hopefully this is big enough text for people as well. So we've got all the ingredients listing, which is kind of nice. Coalesce column value. Okay, thank you. So we've got that ingredient list. So now we're going to have to do and figure out... Let's add some tags, shall we? So tags, we have the unknown tag. Because we want the unknown tag, obviously, don't we? So then we have... tags are going to be American. No, let's do it. Let's call breakfast as a tag. Yeah? Breakfast. Pancakes is a tag. British. English. As well as American. Okay? There's some good tags. Love those tags myself. Now we're going to start looking at... We've got the author. We've got no sources yet for stuff, so we don't have to worry. We know what the source for this book is, though. Source, we're just going to keep 0. Anonymous. We've only got... Wait, what? Whatever. An author is 0 for anonymous. Okay. Zero. Okay, 0, 0, that's fine. We're going to put another one in here. This is going to be... The source is how to be a domestic goddess. And, well, I am a very good domestic goddess. Number 3. There we go. Input. And we got that. So clearly we're going the long way. We're doing the database because then we can view it. Then we need to make our own tooling, our own language to add all the stuff to make it easier than this kind of approach. Even though this is probably quicker at the time being. For the time being, at least. For tonight. Then we can view stuff. Then we need to go to the recipe. We need to add a new recipe. And I'm just going to have a blank one here. So we don't want to have this be the 0th recipe. So we have recipe ID. 0, name, space, author, null, long, short, unknown, portion, 1, portion, Recipe kind, it's going to be standard. Parent recipe ID is null. That's going to be false. And false. Okay. That's wrong. Unit name? What? Okay, mismatch recipe following recipe. Recipe following recipe following recipe. Is it because because I've got a null recipe? Is that not right? That's true. If I just do blanking everywhere. Is it because I've got this table and it's referencing itself in a parent? But that's like kind of the point of the thing. I know. What's wrong? What is wrong with this? I'm not got. Oh, goodness sake. Why is there so much spam at the moment? That's annoying. Stupid YouTube. It's still got spam in it. It's not doing very well. But that means the channel. I mean, we're getting people watching somehow. Right. I am... because it's that time of night, we might just do something different, shall we? We go to the camera only at the moment. And we should probably just have a shot. That's all we're going to have. Because I'm not having a drunk stream, we're just going to have a try. Because I haven't opened it up yet. There we go. And then... right, I know it's a Monday night. I'm working tomorrow, and I'm working right now. So, just don't have much. Right. Okay. I guess cheers. Nice bourbon. Right. Why is this not working? Is it because... I'm not getting drunk. Is it because parent recipe ID is referencing a parent again? Because it's got a cyclic reference in there. It doesn't... and the database doesn't like it? Does it just like non-cyclic references? Is that the case? Is it... is that the case? I don't know. Anyone got an idea? C3, as in a Citron C3, or the language C3? Because language C3, I know Christopher very well. I have opinions about it. Yes, there you go. I know that's not the answer you wanted, but I did that on purpose. Yeah. Okay. Is it because the parent ID is null, but it's not referencing anything? Recipe referencing recipe. Okay, so let's call that foreign key mismatch referencing itself. Wait a minute. So I may have to change the table of recipe in there at least, but I don't know about the other stuff. So I'm just reading this page here. No, it doesn't have. No, I don't care about that. Let's look at edit this table. And there's the structure. So this text can be doesn't have not null. It doesn't have not null on it, but it's got a foreign key. There's default values everywhere. Let's give this default value, let's configure that. Let's call it false. Let's give that a default value of defaults. Default value for that is 0. Let's give that a default value of portions, or portion, and then we can do the pluralization later. Those can be null, obviously. I did tell you they can be null. They say that has to be unique. Is that correct there? I'm going to save that. Okay. This can be null. It's got a foreign key to it. This is a recipe ID. I'm just going to click apply. I think it was already there. So if I add another one in here for the time being, so the name is null, author is nothing, 0, 0, 0, 0, portions, 0, apply, recipe following recipe. Does it not like? I'm gonna try this, okay? Because I don't think it's gonna work. So if we just try and... Can we delete this? Can we, is the question. Flipping it, this is annoying. The primary key should be unique. Thank you. Okay. So when I said the name has to be unique, obviously. The author name, author ID, and the source ID is said to be unique. But when I say unique, that's probably wrong, isn't it? Can I remove the I know you can't see what I'm doing. You can only see my face. Now you can see what I'm doing. So what am I doing? I know, see you, Zach. Yeah. Where do I see Odin language in next 10 years? Where it is, hopefully. Hasn't gone flight on holidays or anything like that. No. Actually, I hope it goes well. And it's hopefully we'll be definitely version 1 by then anyway. Definitely. But in 10 years' time, I'm hoping for the best is the best way of putting it. Hoping for the best. Greatio then. So, is that enough? Okay. So this has got no uniqueness on there or anything like that. It says... So let's try again, shall we? Space, no space in there. Apply. Recipe following recipe. So it looks like the problem is fundamentally the parent ID, which I may have to have another check later. So I need to edit this table somehow. Delete that column. Yes, I do for the time being. If it means flipping fixing this. Yes, commit modifications, please. Yes, okay. Yes. Oh my god. I did say so, yeah. What? What? What's gone wrong there? Oh, bugger. It's got that foreign key in there. It's just cocked everything up. And I can't get rid of it. Yes. Okay. Now it works. I had the foreign key still in there. Recipe ID there. Name is in there. Apply. Great. Now it didn't do any of the defaults for me. Or it did. portion. Let's just do null, 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 whatever. That's fine. Okay. Okay, let's try the first ever recipe in this thing, and it's American breakfast pancakes. The author ID is 3. The source is 1. American breakfast pancakes are both descriptions, in fact, short and long. It's fine by that. Portions. Did this tell me 11 portions? So this is going to be a pancake. Recipe kind is 0. False, false. And then we're adding that. We're added it. Okay. Hello, hello. Okay, so we've got one recipe in there so far. We now can add... we've got the recipe steps. Shall we do the steps first? Because the steps are very boring. But we know what the recipe is, don't we? We know it's on in normal 1. Just pretend it's 1 for the time being. So we're adding all the data in. So step is going to be 0. Fine. Just do 0, 0, 0. And you just space in there. Done. So we're just keeping null in there. So this is going to be fine. So recipe ID 1, step index 0, and then that. 1, 1, that. And then 1, 2, that. And they're the steps. That's all they are in this recipe. Very simple. Okay. Recipe tags. Shall we do some tags? Shall we? So we got recipe tag 0, 0, 0. Okay, just always do blank. It's always very useful to do that. Okay, so then we've got recipe ID as 1. And then we have all the tags. So these are tag. We're going to use... we need 1, 2, and 5. Okay? 1... Sorry, that's 1, 2, and 5. Yeah, they're the tags. We've got that. Next, last thing to do are the ingredients, which I'm going to just scale back a little bit so I can actually read them. I know you guys probably can't, but oh well. Okay, so ingredients. We're going to... Oh, bug, I can't even see any of that. We just need to click on every single one, don't we? That's the ingredient ID. Ingredient ID, ingredient variant, if there's any flipping invariant in there. The normalized amount, the normalized maxed amount, normalized unit kind, original, there's so many fucking units in there, sorry, am I swearing? Step index, like, great, can't we just ID? And then, is it optional or not? Okay. So before I do all that, I'm going to add some defaults onto this. So is there a default value? Yes. Optional. 0. Is that, unless that says nullable on it. Not null. Okay. 0. Apply. Okay. Original unit ID. That's not null. Unit kind. We're going to do that. Normalized amount. The rest are fine. Yes, I'm going to commit those, please. Thank you. No, so this one in here, we've got... This is the recipe ingredient, okay? So we've got 0 in there. We're just going to put 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. That's nullable, isn't it? So, what's the error? Foreign key failed. Because I'm probably... There is no ingredient variant. Which one? Oh god, how much spam is there tonight? Really? Yeah, you might be right. One author can only have one recipe. I might have done that wrong with the recipe stuff. The name needs to be unique, but the name doesn't necessarily need to be unique. It's the combination of those three together are unique. That's what I've written. Look, the key is those three together are unique, not on their own. Also, hello, good evening, good evening. How are you doing? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream again. Yeah, we're good. So, the uniqueness is those three together, right? That's what I'm right. Chameleon, I'm going to call you on this chat, just so to keep names anonymous, or pseudonymous. Righto then. So, why is that failing? What was it failing originally? We were trying to do recipe ingredient. Shall we just do the first one anyway? So the recipe ID is 1. Oh no, this is recipe ingredient. Okay, so we need the ingredients as well in this list. I wish I could have multiple at the same time. So I'm going to take a screenshot. Because Oh, there is tabs at the bottom. I'm not very smart. So I've got tabs. Recipe ingredient. And then I can just flip to the tabs. Can I not? Oh god, this is awful. Seriously. Why can I not? The variant I don't really care about. Normalized amount. Normalized amount maximum. Not going to care about any of them. Unit kind. Original unit. And then unit. Okay, so we're going to add some stuff in it. Recipe ingredient is 0. The recipe is 1. The ingredients we need for our recipe are... First one is plain flour. And plain flour is number 3. There's no variant on that. That's correct. Normalized amount. Normalized... Okay, so normalized amount, I know what this was. It was which units we are setting this in. So we want to say this all in the normalized units, which are going to be our kilograms. We're going to have liters. We're going to have... oh God, this is what I was designing because I wanted to make sure that the units made sense. But kilograms, liters, Celsius, degrees Celsius. So kilograms are... so that is 1. Liters are 5, 2, 15, 3. Seconds are going to be the normalized unit, I think. So seconds are 17, and that's 4. And then the normalized units are going to be in meters. So that's going to be 20 meters, 5. And then we have pinch at the end. We're going to ignore that normalized unit. And then the other one is going to be 0 blank 6. Okay. That's what this is. Okay, so the normalized amount for this, what we need is 225 grams. So that is 0.225 grams. And guess, by the way, I'm guessing that's in ounces. That recipe is, you can usually tell that's meant to be 8 ounces. But the unit, there's no max amount. We can that unit kind. Shit, what's that? A unit kind. That is a 1. And then the original unit was in grams, wasn't it? So that was 2. Is it got any step to it? No. It's not original, but we can add it. Wonderful. We've already just added 1 column. Great. Okay, recipe idea. So what's the next? Baking powder. The ingredient is baking powder, which is number 4. The amount was 1 tablespoon. Okay. Shit. We need to figure out what a tablespoon is. 1 tablespoon. This is the annoying bit, isn't it? This is why you need to input them, don't you? But I'm going to do it manually. So 1 tablespoon. What was the density of the ingredient? Baking powder's that 1 tablespoon to milliliters, and I'm going to say imperial tablespoon. So it's that, and then I'm going to do that as 0.7, 0.07. So that's 17.2 grams. Oh bollocks! Should normalized units be in grams or liters? Kilograms. I think kilograms are normalized, by the way. But I think I'm probably going to work in grams, aren't I? So, shit. Oh. Right. Guys, I need a unit system. So should I use kilograms as a normalized one or liters as the normalized one? So kilograms and grams. So it should be kilograms and liters or grams and milliliters. Okay, which one? Because I'm not sure what the best thing is. Yeah, I know. Works for dry and wet. This is the problem. I need to figure out normalization unit system. So the normalization unit system is going to have to be grams and milliliters, I think, because that's going to be the easiest to do conversions for. 225. Okay, that's going to be 15. Not kilograms and liters, but grams and milliliters. Shit, what are those? So that's number 2. And that's number 6. So they are the standardized aspects. Original unit ID. Okay. The unit kind for that is technically in volumetric. So the volumetric thing is a 2, but the original kind was in tablespoons, so it was a 13. Okay? Yeah? And there's no step to it. Is it optional? No. Done. Okay. God, this is taking a while, because this is why you need to make it table. We're going to do that next time when we do another recipe, so don't worry. That's going to be for tomorrow. Today we're just going to get one recipe in, and then we're going to lay it out correctly for us. Okay, so the next ingredient is salt, and it's a pinch. 1. Ingredient salt is 1. Normalized amount 1. Unit kind is a pinch. So kind is 6. So that's a 0. 6. It still asks me if it's optional. No, it's not optional. What's gone wrong there? Foreign key constraint. Normalized unit kind. Oh, it's 6, is it? Oh, That's 6. Normalized unit kind is a 6. Original unit, that's a 25, sorry, 25. Done. Thank you for checking. Okay. We've got a pinch of salt. We need some sugar. Teaspoon of sugar, apparently. Teaspoon's 5 grams. I'm going to say that for the time being. 1. Have we got sugar on that list? Yeah, we've got 5. God. Teaspoon, that's going to be 5 grams. I doubt it's 5, but whatever it is. Normalized unit kind, it's in... it's technically in milliliters. So the kind is at 2. And then the original unit was a teaspoon, which is going to be number 12. That's 0. Okay, we're getting there. Do we have a description for any of these units, for ingredients? Odin has a cool logo. What are you talking about? How is this not a cool logo? That's a really cool logo. I'm seriously, what's wrong with that? So, yeah, whatever. Okay, this is weird. Yeah, in the UK we usually do by mass weight. Yeah, we don't do it by volume usually. And I usually use scales. Yeah, I use them all the time. Which means, that's stupid. I'm like, I've got scales. You just put the bolt on the scales. You just put everything in. It's all done. Magic. Yeah, we don't need a mascot. Unless you want to draw Odin and some ravens. That would be lovely. That would be a lovely mascot. But, yeah. Okay, what else we got to do here? We've got... It was the other ingredients we've got to do. We've got the ingredients, recipe ingredient. So what was it we need to do with... We need an egg. We haven't got any descriptions, interestingly, for these ingredients. Because there's no description, but we should have a description, I think. God, how do I add another... Create index, delete column, edit column, add column. Call this a description. Text. It is nullable. Okay. And I'm going to add that there. This is not null, but yeah, it is fine. There's a raven. I don't care about but there's you can have a mascot as a raven. That's pretty cool because it's Odin. Data's in here. So now we've got the descriptions because they need to put the descriptions in with the egg. So, recipe 1. Ingredient is an egg, which is number 6. Normalized amount is 2. Item kind is blank. Original unit is 0. And then the recipe step index on their description is going to be large beaten. Okay, that's a nice little description. And then we're going to need milk. We need butter. And we need it twice, in fact. So we need butter. So 30 grams of the stuff. Butter 7. 30. Unit normalized kind is... This is mass. The original unit is... No, it's the other way around, sorry. So mass number 2. Oops. And then does it say melted and cooled? Was the actual description. Melted and cooled. Okay, that's added. And then the last one is some milk. 8. That's going to be 300, it says. Yep. 300. Normalized unit kind is going to be a 2. The actual unit is 6. And then there's no description on that. And then the final one in there is some more butter. Which, just to go through, we've got 7. By the way, we're going to do all this correct. Otherwise, it's not going to be difficult. But there is no normalized units, in fact. It's got a description. For frying. Does that work? No, it doesn't allow me. So let's say we need another, I don't know, 15 grams for frying. Or 30 maybe. Let's just literally, that sounds about right in my head. 30 grams of 1, 2, commit. Done. We've done a recipe. The recipe is done. Oh, we'll see anyway. What do cows drink? Water or milk when they're young? Who'd have guessed? Okay. There's a recipe. So now we're actually done. We're actually done with inputting a recipe. So before I'm going to do any more, I'm going to commit this thing. And we're going to create a repository here. That's okay. And then we're going to start adding stuff. So git add. Add all that, please. Yes, please. It adds everything recursively as well, doesn't it? Yeah. And then we need to add them. Git add. And I'm going to write initial commit. Wonderful. There's no master branch because I'm just keeping it local for the time being, and everything should be fine. Okay, so... Okay, is there a way... Right, so shall we? Now we've got some ingredients. We're going to have a recipe now. What we're going to have to do here. Recipe struct. So the problem with this select thing here, we're going to have to be really careful. So we're going to have to be a bit more... We can't just pass the struct in there. We're going to have to be a bit more forgiving, is the best way of putting it. With field names. No. So GitHub defaults to main, but I still call it the master branch because GitHub's moronic with their naming. Like, it's called master slave for a reason. Like, that's a whole old engineering goes back centuries. So calling it main, I'm like, yeah, but some people call it the trunk, some people call it other things. Doesn't matter. I don't care. It's just a term. No one, like, if you get other connotations, that's on you, not the terms. Yeah. Right, so we're getting these things from here, which is nice. So we've got all the ingredients, and I don't think we'd add any more ingredients as we're listing, but we've got all the units. We haven't got the conversion tables yet, but I'm going to have to do that. So the normalized unit systems in here, I'm going to put a big comment in here. Normalized units, the normalized units, or grams per milliliter. Okay, units are, mass is grams, so yeah, we're going to just do all these. Blank, okay. Whoops. Mass is going to be grams, milliliters, degrees C. I haven't got temperature degree symbol. Degrees C. Time is seconds. Length is meters. In fact, millimeters. I'm probably going to say that is the actual unit, and then the item is just going to be blank. I'm going to put underscore in there. Okay, that's just to remind me, because millimeters makes more sense than meters. You never measure things in meters. Okay, so we have a recipe stuff in here. Thinking this through. I am thinking this through, if you didn't guess. So we have all the columns already. We know what the columns are for a recipe. Yeah? So we need to just... Sorry, I've got them on here because I'm trying to get the column names. So we can look at the structure. So we have ID, again, which is an index, the name, author ID, another index, source ID, another index, short description, long description, portions, portion name, recipe kind, and that's a recipe kind in there. Is it hidden? Bool and private. And I think that's one thing I needed to do, is I didn't actually add the Boolean. And then we've got all the other Boolean stuff. So, bool. I'm only caring about one particular data type for the time being. Okay. So we've got all the recipes in there. We're not going to print them anyway. We're just going to waste them for the time being. Fump's been used. We want to keep that as well for the time being. We've got all that. That's going to be the recipe ID. That's name. Author ID. Source ID. Short description. Long description. Portions is a real, I think. Portion name. Recipe kind. So that's recipe kind ID. Hidden is those have got the same thing as well. So let's select from recipe the recipes. It's found a recipe for us, guys. We've found a 0th one, but what we want is where, in fact, we don't need the capital froms, do we? We just need from, where ID equals 1. Misuse, it says, so that's not correct, because it's not correct as it's recipe ID. Okay, lovely. So we've got a recipe. So we can actually select from that, can't we? In fact, we don't even need to do recipe. Misuse, apparently. Okay, just whatever. Just do an array. Okay, let's do that, shall we? Pancake. Pancake? What are you talking about? What's wrong with pancake? Look, it's a pancake. Magic. Now it's got the right names to it. But then when we get this, we've got different things going on, haven't we? So, we can just go, look, we only care about one recipe, which is that. And you guys probably can't read it very well, so let's do that, shall we? We've got that going, which is nice to know. Then we can, once we've got the recipe, we can render it, is the best way of putting it, and then we're done with it. Baker's does is 13, 11 is 11. Hasn't got a special name, just 11. So we've got that, and then we need to find we need we need the recipe ingredients. So an ingredient, a recipe. Have we got ingredient on that list there? Yeah, we have. Recipe ingredient. We just need to get all of the stupid shit tables. There's loads of them to it. Recipe ID. Index. Ingredient ID. Ingredient variant ID. Normalized amount. Now the thing is, when we're doing this selection, I may need the specialized names for it all. But I can do that DB as the thingamabob, can't I? Because I can join on stuff. Oh shit! This is why I guess things come out, don't they? What else is on this list? Description. String. Optional. Bool. There we go. Oh god, more spam. Great, that's gone. Oh, I hate spam. So the thing is, what I'm doing here is probably crap. But at least we've got a recipe, and then we're going to get all of the ingredients, recipe ingredients for the thing. Ingredients, recipe ingredients. And it's not going to look good because I need to. No such column as recipe ingredient ID. Yes, there is. Ingredient ID from recipe ingredients. Oh, no, ingredient. I always do singular because it makes sense sometimes. So that's all in there. Yeah, they could at least look for some words like adult dating in their stuff, like stupid spam. Like, just you could easily check it. But no, they'd have to. Well, but no, they want to learn it first, don't they? They don't want to actually type it in. That's Google for you. Right. I think for one day we're gonna have some rendering. I think we've got, what is it, 11:30. So I think I'm gonna stream for another half an hour. So it'll be 3 hours nearly total. I think 3 hours total. I'll be done. 'Cause it's been a good day, by the way. With watching and streaming, so that's absolutely fine. Okay. Yeah, I mean, sometimes weird. Just checking other things whilst I'm here. Okay, so I'm going to have to figure out how to make a join to get the data of the stuff that I want. I may have to do this manually in a query because this is the raw stuff. It's not necessarily what I want. Oh, I need a drop down. Do I have a drop down in the micro one? I don't think I do. No, there isn't a drop down in this thing, is there? It's that micro. Oh, I've got to make more stuff, haven't I? Oh, sorry. Yeah, so the current goal for this thing is we're doing the Wheel Reinvention Jam for 2022. And the idea of this is that you're trying to break the status quo. You're trying to reinvent something. Like, if you look at wheels around the world, there's infinite. There's like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of different type of wheels. So the wheel's already getting reinvented. So that idiom's awful. Absolutely awful. I'll go back to the camera to explain this. So the idea today is effectively make a reverse cookbook. Well, this week at least, this jam. So there's the forward cookbook idea, normal cookbook. I have some in front of me, some old ones as well. So with the cookbooks, the props I've got here, this is an old book-ish. You look in the book and it tells you how to make it. It tells you the name of the recipe, the ingredients, and then the steps usually. That is pretty much the layout that you do. The issue with this system, obviously, is when you're reading it, you first off, it's in text, so it's not dynamic. It's not like a program. You go, okay. And then you have to look at the units and you go, maybe I don't know these units. I would say it's American things. Like, I don't know what a cup is, really. And you think, oh, everyone knows what a cup is. It's a cup. It's like, well, I don't know what a cup is. I usually use, I need it in mass. I need to weigh it. I don't need to know it. It's like, what do you mean? Like, trust me, I want to weigh it. Like, for instance, let's say I've got 1.5 ounces, but I don't know anything about ounces. I want it in grams. So if you do the approximate the calculation for whatever that actually is, it will tell you, but it may not be correct. So you got all these different things. So you got all these different issues with regards to just unit systems and getting them calculated correctly. That alone is complicated, is the best way of putting it. Yeah. What was I looking at? I'm just reading this recipe. It says 1 pint of milk, or it says 6 deciliters. I'm like, I have never seen deciliters ever used before. In practice, I've ever seen milliliters and centiliters, but never deciliters. That's interesting. Like, really interesting. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, that's the forward cookbook, making a more standardized form of how to read a book, cook recipes, and have a standard way of formatting them, and also doing the unit conversions on them, and many other things on top. That is the forward bit. The reverse bit is something that other software has tried to do, but I don't think they're very good. The reverse bit is saying, like, look, I've got these ingredients. What recipes can I make? And not just that, I have this amount of ingredients. And these ingredients I want, how much can I make and how many portions can I make as well? Because it might be like, look, I need to make 8 portions. I have these amount of ingredients. What recipes can I make? Perfect. Yeah. Web scale, yeah. Wow, so web scale that we're still in the terminal, guys. So good, so good. Yeah, some people saying the thing is like, look, it's with these kind of things. The other thing is, I find that on websites as well, when you see these recipes, and it's mainly because of how their advertisement model has to work, you've got this massive essay at the front, this diatribe, and then you've got the recipe, and the recipe's still not great formatted. So yeah, it's not necessarily. Honestly, I've never seen deciliters as a unit. I've always seen milliliters or centiliters. Deciliters also seems like a stupid unit to me because a liter is a big unit. Then you've got milliliters, the tiniest, and centiliters. Stupid still, but at least they're trying to be effectively like on the scale of the fluid ounce. About 3 times too small, but still on the scale. So half order of magnitude out. But yeah, no, I don't know. It's just a random page from an old book that's trying to do both old imperial and metric for you, and people don't always know. Okay, so we're going to go back to Lysine, and we've already printed out what the ingredients are for this thing here, which is lovely, by the way. We then need to get all the data, because the actual query, I'm going to just build a database query from scratch. I don't need to add a database. Create a view? What's a view? Oh, I can query stuff. So I'm going to select recipe, where recipe ID equals 1. Yeah? Everything from that, sorry. Oh no, I don't want that query. I want... yeah, can I just do a query on the... Okay, can I just... Is this a query? Can I query this? How do I do it? Yes. I want a blank view, please. Edit view. Default view. Okay, so it's given me this data here. Okay, lovely. Nothing that great, to be honest with you. So, I'm going to select the ID. Okay, I'm just going to be very pedantic here. This may sound bizarre. Everything from recipe ingredient, where recipe ID equals, and hopefully, this is how you normally do it. So select everything from there, while that is equal to that. I'm going to put in, just to be a bit more. It doesn't know in. And there's the data. Can I? Yeah, so there's the data we've got. And recipe ingredient. We don't really care about everything else in here, but we do care about the ingredient ID. So we want to do some joins. I haven't done SQL in a while, so I need to forget. SQL join. And it's not just any old join I need. I just need a just simple join, don't we? So we need a... okay. Is it an inner join I'm looking for? Inner join. What is it? Ingredients. Ingredient. On. Ingredient ID equals ingredient.id. Okay? No such column. Is that not right? Ingredient ID. Ingredient ID. And do I have to do it before the where? And then it's done it that way, hasn't it? So we just need to change the names on the select. So the select is going to have let's call that as RI. And then that's I. Select the ingredient name. So we got all that. And then we're going to do another inner join. Inner join the unit. Let's keep it to unit, it's not a problem. The recipe ingredient on the unit. Oh, no. What was it originally called? We called that a... What was it? A normalized unit kind. No, we don't care about it. It's the original unit ID. No. Normalized unit kind. Let's call that... No, we don't need to worry about that for the time being. So we need to do i.name, i.normalized amount. What's gone wrong there? There is. On the recipe ingredient there is. Okay. There's the descriptions. We have the unit amount as well. So we have got the normalized amount, but they are all normalized anyway. So normalized... no, so that's going to be the unit name. Inner join unit on normalized unit. No, original unit ID, I'm guessing. Yeah. Equals unit ID. And then that works there. Yeah. It says name there. So that's fine as unit name. So that's absolutely fine. So we can always add these custom queries and then eventually populate our data that way. But that's not bad so far. In fact, we're seeing what we've got here so far. All right, we're actually getting the data and we're querying it correctly. I know it's in a... Oh, I don't have to do it. Thank you, Ben. There we go. That works. No, it is actually... I've done the long form. I've not called it ID, and I probably should have done. I'll go back. It's just been my old habit. I did that from... We'll go back to it and probably change everything, shall we? Because the problem is, I just called them author ID. I didn't call it ID. And I know that sounds like, that's just stupidly long. I know. And I'm like, it is. It's an old habit. Like, it's probably not even a good habit, to be honest with you. Where you do the full name, because then they've got the same name when you do it. Yeah? Yeah, you could do that later. I don't really care. We're working on the reinventing the cookbook. That's what I'm doing today. You could do natural join. What does natural join do? I'd love to know. Doesn't work. Like that. Doesn't work. And I didn't save that. I'm a moron. On ri.ingredient ingredient ID equals I ingredient ID. On ri original unit ID equals unit.unit ID. Okay, so we got all that. So that's what we've got so far. Yeah. I think that's absolutely fine so far. So well, like, we've got a little query going on at least, which is quite nice to say at least. Look at this. So we're getting the ingredients now, and we've got a description, and then we've got the original unit as well. So we've got 250 grams here. This is tablespoons. It was the original, but this is normalized amount. We need a table for another table now. Create a table. These are going to be the normalized units. Normalized unit. Okay. Let's create a column name. So this is called normalized unit ID. This is the primary key. It cannot be null. Any other? Nope, it's not one of them. Unique, yes. Okay. Oh, I forgot to give it a data type, which is going to be an integer. It can't be not null. Okay, we need another column. We need the unit kind ID. Integer. It's a foreign key. Can't be null. Unit kind ID. Apply. And then add another column. This is the unit ID. It's going to be another integer. Foreign key, not null. Unit. Okay, so that's going to be that. So we're going to create that table. Wonderful. The normalized unit system now. We can add some stuff into there. So 0. We've got 6. So I'm just trying to find all the stuff I've just made. So unit kind 1, and then the unit ID is 2. So that's grams. Unit kind number 2. That's going to be 6. That's milliliters. The next one is unit kind 3 is degrees Celsius. The next one is 4, and that one is seconds. The next one is 5, and that one is millimeters, which was millimeters was 22. Oh, bollocks. Number 5, that's 22 for millimeters. And then the last one is number 6, and that one is item. And I think that was 0, blank. So if we do that, that's like that. They should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, and 5. Or 4 and 5. It's, no, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's not been working correctly, because this one should be edit column. It should have not collate. Is it collate I want? No. Generated value. No. I want it auto incrementing. How do I add the auto incrementing bit onto it? I don't remember. Is millimeters 23? Did I get it wrong? Millimeters is 22. The unit ID is 22. It's 23rd column. It's starting from 1, but yeah, it's 23. I was right. Okay. So we go back to our view now. And then we can... we've got the normalized amount. What did we call this table? It was a unit... No, it was normalized unit... join normalized unit as NU on RI normalized unit kind ID, which then equals NU unit kind ID. Okay? Let's try that. That viewed it correctly. And then what we need to do is, on that normalized thing, join on unit on RR, no, it's the NU unit ID, where that equals to unit ID. Okay, that's fine. And then we need to do we've joined on them. Go back. But I don't know how to view that now, because that doesn't really make any sense. So I wanted to get that value and then just plop it in that table with that correct thing in there. Okay. And that's... oh, fucking hell, what happened there? Stop. Stop while I'm doing it wrong. Right. Normalized unit. So that's new. Unit... no, unit ID. And then we got that. And then we need to change this bit there to be a... we want to change that to the other column that's on the normal unit. How do I do that? How do I do that? So I want to turn that into the other thing. I want to do it on a join. How? Does anyone know? Anybody know? I can't know. You know what I'm like? I'm trying to turn this into the unit string. Can I do that? That didn't work. I just want it in here. I know this is not actually real correct, but normalized unit. I don't know how you do this. Like this thing. I want to effectively do this inside the thing, but that's not going to work. Like, I want to do that, but that's not right, is it? So... yeah, I know. I kind of need a subunit, but I'm like, I don't know how to do it. I'm not very good. I'm not very clever at SQL. I'm not. Yes, but I've already joined on unit. And, yeah, I'm not going to get anything back, am I? Or am I? I am. Okay. Yeah, but I want the other thing for the other thing. So it's not very helpful, is it? I'm just trying to view it for tonight. That's all I'm trying to do, is view it for tonight. So then we can go to bed. Because I'm going to go to bed in 15 minutes. That was the plan, wasn't it? We have... and... as a different alias? Really? Okay, so as you. Oh no, sorry, did that again. You have to join again as a different alias. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you. You.name as normalized name. Like that. Thank you very much. Normalized name, if it's blank, we've got the... There we go. So that worked. We've actually got all of the ingredients. That's pretty damn cool, right? You've got to admit, that's pretty cool. Like, come on. Come on. We figured out how to actually do this. And it works. And it works quite well, actually. So, yeah. And then we've got the ID in there. So we could just do the i.id. Oh, fuck. So that's ingredient. A recipe. There we go. Normalized amount, original unit, normalized name, and normalized unit name. And then a description. What do people think of this now? Seriously, what do you think? Because this is pretty damn cool. Right? Right? In fact, what I'm going to do here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Enter. It says unique. What? It is. Whatever. So we've got the view. So they're showing... I'm going to rename this view to... show ingredients. List ingredients. Perfect. Yeah, this is actually coming together pretty damn well. What the f... That was not what I wanted. Nope. So you can change all the views to this. That's kind of stupid. Nope. That's the most stupidest form I've ever seen. I just wanted to use this ingredients. Okay. So that is pretty damn cool. And I'll say that's cool in the fact that we don't need that. Order by ri dot recipe ingredient ID ascending. Is that correct? Yeah. So we've got all the data that we'd ever actually need for a table. So we've got the normalized units, then we've got the original unit. And I notice not every single one has got the original unit to it. So it's got a normalized unit. It's, oh, nothing in there. It's obviously actually a pinch. So that's fine because we know it's blank. Same with these are blank. There's no problem. Yeah. Okay, I'm pretty happy so far. That is working. Actually working. Now what to do is the real question. Right. We've got the viewed. We've got what we wanted. We've got about 10 more minutes left. I'm going to save this query. I'm going to save as a new file. This is list ingredients.sql. That's fine. I'm just going to make that. Can I convert that to tabs? It's fine. Hey, there we go. That's what I want because it looks correct to me. So there's the name of the ingredient. That's the normalized amount, the normalized unit name, the original unit name, and the description. That is pretty good. We've then got select from there. We've got these joins here. Then we've got a where we're selecting what it is. This sounds like, why are we doing this? And we could just do one. I'm like, look, I'm just doing that on purpose. And in fact, you know what? You're right. That is the SQL that we need to execute. Told you it was a database problem. Who would have guessed? And I've just had to remember SQL again because I haven't touched it in a little while. This has been pretty fun, to be honest with you. It's been pretty fun. Pretty fun. So, has anyone got any questions so far? That's a real good question. Any questions? Any questions? Okay, this is better than last year, by the way, I have to remember, because last year I didn't really do much, because, yeah. But we've got more bad in 3 hours. In 3 hours, Nick. Not even 3 hours yet. It's going to be 3 hours and 10 minutes. We've got pretty far. And I'm pretty happy with what we've got in terms of the query. There's the... Oh, flipping heck, stupid thing. I keep pressing that button. I probably just need to remove them. Window list? No. View toolbar? There we go. Perfect. This is what we want, and that's pretty much the salt, table salt. What's the final UI going to be? It's going to be something special. It's going to look like a cookbook. Like, I want it to look like you'd go, oh, I see this and read it easily. Like, it's going to be something easy to read. Because what we've got at the moment is just as a... what's it called? As a mock-up, we're going to use the micro UI stuff here. I know it's a bit pixelized, but I've just tried to double the size so people could see it. We're going to try it this way. This is adding a recipe, list of units, whatever. We're going to see stuff in here. And, yeah. How much do you intend to let the SQL database do and how much the original logic? For example, the original unit is something that could have been substituted on the original Odin side. I'm like, yes, I completely agree. There's a lot of things that are going to have to be done on the Odin side, and some things are going to be done on there. I just wanted to view it in the database because I just need to learn how to do it. There are a few things I have to consider, but I have to think it through as well. Oh, someone's asking, you noticed on the... where was it? This here. These are struct tags, so it just requires a string literal. But we're using backticks because it makes it easier just to find what these need to be. This is the long form of the ingredient, but we're going to go the short form. We're going to just put it in. Once we've got the normalized amount, the normalized kind, what we need to do, convert to it as well, because we've got conversion factor. Every single one has got a conversion factor to it. Every single unit. And I'll have to write them in manually, obviously. Can't magically do it. But we only have to do it one way. So we need to go from the base unit to the normalized amount to do the conversion factor. And then we can go from the normalized amount to any other value that's necessary and just do the inverse. Most conversions are going to be linear. The only one that's that's going to be linear without an offset, just a scaling factor. The only one that's going to be linear, that's a scaling with an offset, is going to be the temperature ones. Because obviously the 0 points are different for Celsius and Fahrenheit. Just different things, aren't they? Where they intercept. I'm going to call it quits again in a minute or two. So I'm pretty happy with it. I'm not a big fan of what Sky... Oh, no, I'm saying I just copy and paste what Sky does. So it makes it easier for me anyway. But I'm going to have to make my own little thing here, at least. Which is nice, to say the least. I can then... What else can I do? I can get all the database for these ingredients, not just for Odin. I'm going to do the viewing a lot in Odin as well. So if we go back to main, comment it out, because I don't need to render SDL every single time now. Just generate the code, generate the thing, and I'm going to do the selecting of the stuff, because each row is going to be different. So it's going to be oh, I need to get the units and all the unit kind IDs and all that lot, and then do the conversion tables. And in fact, the conversion table stuff could be embedded into Odin directly. There's no reason why it needed to be in the database, but the database makes it easier to view. So, yeah. So, unit conversions. You can see from to scale factor, offsets factor. I've figured out most of this pretty well. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Perfect. And in fact, the scale factor is always going to be 1, not 0, because that'll cock things up. Okay, so we've got different units, obviously. Now I need to close all the other windows. Close anyway. Okay, that's fine. And then what we've got to do is the different units. So kilograms is to get to the base unit. We don't need to do everything, by the way. So unit conversion. From unit to that, scale factor is 1000. Offset 0. Great. Then we go to gram. So 1. So we got we go to itself, doesn't it? So it doesn't matter. So 2, 2, 1, 0. You don't even need to guess that. Everything's going to itself. Ounces. So let's go 3 goes to 2. 1 ounce. 1 ounce to grams. Specifically, what's the exact amount of an ounce? Because we can be precise, can't we? Scale factor there. That's lovely. Correct. And we can just go through this. A pound is the next one. So that's 4, isn't it? Yeah. To a gram. And then a pound is going to be 16 of them. It's going to be exactly like that with 0 in it. Okay, so there's the pounds. So then we got litres. Okay, so litres is number 5. We're going to go to millilitres, which is number 6. And that's 1000, obviously. No offset factor. We're going to go to... we got... No, millilitres is number 6, so we already got 6. Centilitres is number 7. Go to number 6. And then centilitres will give me 10. And then we had fluid ounces. Fluid ounce imperial. So that's number 8. That goes back to 6. Fluid ounce imperial. We want the exact amount. Like, that is that the exact amount? No, it's not. No, it is. Okay. What's 0? Obviously, there's no offset. The US customary one. So that's a 9 to 6, and that's that number. Okay. Back to get 0 in there, obviously. That's fine. Sorry if this is really boring to everyone. But I've got to do it, pretty much. And it may not be the most prettiest thing on stream. We have a pint. So an imperial pint is 10. And we're going to 6 again. Oops. 6, 6. Imperial pint. We do have dry and liquid pints, obviously. The dry pint is closer to the imperial pint, obviously. And the liquid pint is a lot smaller, but everyone's using liquid when you think of it. They just are. Because when you think of a fluid ounce, it's actually like, okay, let's do that. And then times 16. Yeah, it's close to that one. So that's that. That's the imperial pint. And then the other pint is going to be that one. And 0. And then we've got teaspoons in there. So a teaspoon we're going to say is 5, just for the flip it, make it simple. 12, 6 is 5. Oops, 0 as well. Next one was a tablespoon. 6